The God Valley incident is renowned for the battle between the Rocks pirates and the Roger Garp alliance. While episode 1130 may primarily focus on the human hunt, the possibility that the Rocks pirates were already present on the island or are en route cannot be discounted. This could foster an undercurrent of tension or perhaps even spark initial minor skirmishes. The gradual appearance of key members of the Rocks pirates, such as Rox D. Xebec, Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, and a young Whitebeard may begin to unfold.
Okay, let's jump straight in. The sources describe this scene with just gut-wrenching intensity.
Yeah, absolutely. You get this immediate picture of slaves screaming total pandemonium across an island.
And this chilling reality kicking off a cruel human hunt.
It's not just a place, it's an atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right? The sources really convey these brutal high stakes. It sounds dominated by this horrifying environment the Celestial Dragons just imposed.
And that's exactly what we're here to deep dive into today. We're looking at your sources, articles, video previews, details about potential chapter content to explore this specific moment. One Piece, Chapter 1130, the God Valley Tragedy, and what it might show us about Bartholomew Kuma's past.
Yeah, our mission here is basically to pull out the key insights from all that material. What does this glimpse really tell us?
About the cruelty, the desperation to survive.
Exactly. And how this flashback connects to that bigger picture that, wiped out history. Everything we talk about comes straight from those sources you provided.
So let's set that horrifying scene. The sources say this human hunt just starts. No buildup.
Plunges the island straight into chaos, yeah. And the picture painted is incredibly tense, really horrifying.
We're talking visuals of slaves, even kids like Kuma, being hunted, their screams, like the soundscape of a nightmare.
And what's really stark, according to the sources, is this sickening contrast.
Between who?
Between the Celestial Dragons, described as looking joyful, even superior while doing this brutal sport. And the intense, raw suffering of the slaves they're hunting. It just slams home their inhumanity.
The sources even hint at specific figures being there, being cruel.
Right. Thungarling Figureland, commander of the Holy Knights, is mentioned, maybe showing his strength or his ruthlessness right then and there.
Yeah, sort of cementing that image of extreme coldness.
And Saturn, too. One of the Gorosei, possibly supervising, giving orders.
Reinforcing how detached and brutal the world nobles can be, orchestrating this stuff.
Okay, so amidst this absolute nightmare, the sources highlight this desperate bid for freedom happening.
Right. There's a core group trying something. Ivankov, Kuma, and maybe Ginny.
Seems like it. They maybe rally some others after the initial shock and hatch some kind of plan.
And it's not just like sneaking away. It's called a life-risking operation.
A desperate gamble, really.
Yeah.
Using the sheer chaos of the hunt itself to try to find any path out.
Ivankov's role, the sources mention leadership, boldness in this extreme situation.
Yeah, stepping up. And Ginny, if she's there, maybe playing a support role, or perhaps she has some unique skills they need.
And Kuma, he's young. He's just had this shock. Sources imply it's about his father, his teachings.
Right, but he's driven by this intense desire for freedom. That's the core thing.
And it's rooted in what his father taught him about Nika.
Exactly, the legend of Nika.
That's fascinating. The sources even suggest Kuma's own strength, his buccaneer race heritage.
His latent power, yeah. It might start showing itself precisely because he's in this incredibly dangerous life or death spot.
So, stepping back from the individuals for a second, God Valley itself. How do the sources describe the place?
In pretty stark terms, not just a backdrop. It's called a deadly land, a place of despair. Like hope just doesn't exist there.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting regarding that wiped out history.
Go on.
The sources are clear. The full God Valley incident, Rocks versus Roger and Garp, probably isn't revealed in this chapter.
Right, that's the big one.
But they strongly suggest that clues about why the island was so important, why all these powers converged there, those clues might start dropping in this flashback.
So this human hunt is like a piece of the island's darker history before the famous battle.
Exactly, predates it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Now, amidst all this horror, Kuma's internal state is key.
Yeah, the sources focus on his main driver, remembering his dad's stories about Nika.
The warrior of liberation.
And Nika, in these stories Kuma's clinging to, brings smiles and freedom.
It's this legend, yeah. This flicker of hope whispered in the dark that fuels his will to survive this.
And the sources post this question, hanging over Kuma. What scenery awaits Kuma?
Which given everything, probably isn't something happy, right? Not in this chapter.
Seems unlikely. It suggests he's facing some extreme challenge, a huge decision.
Or maybe another loss, something that just deepens his belief in Nika, even through pain.
Yeah, intensifies it. Now, this hunt isn't happening in a vacuum. The sources talk about other major forces likely around God Valley then.
Oh, absolutely. The Marines almost certainly deployed there.
Why? To protect the celestial dragons during the hunt.
Primarily, yes, but also maybe to deal with other threats. They'd be the enforcers, stopping slaves escaping.
And the sources mention we might see younger versions of famous Marines. Future admirals, maybe.
Possibilities floated, yeah. Adds another layer.
And then the big one, the name synonymous with God Valley.
The Rocks Pirates.
Right. Even if this chapter focuses on the hunt, the sources hint Rocks might already be there, or at least approaching.
Which creates this huge underlying tension, right? Hints at the bigger conflict brewing. Maybe even small clashes already happening.
And potentially glimpses of the crew in their youth. Rocks, D. Zekbek, young Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, Whitebeard.
The sources suggest we could start seeing them. Their presence, or just their imminent arrival, is this massive destabilizing factor.
Wow. Okay, and we can't forget the other slaves. Lots of them.
Definitely. Beyond Kuma's group, the sources stress there are many others caught up in this.
And their actions trying to escape, resisting, or just becoming victims all add to the chaos.
Yeah, they're part of this volatile mix, this overall force on the island during the hunt.
Sources also mention maybe smaller groups, other pirates drawn there, but it's less likely.
Seems like a minor possibility mentioned. The main players are clearly the celestial dragons and their slaves, the Marines protecting them, and this looming threat of the Rocks Pirates.
So what these sources piece together for us is, well, it's a glimpse into a moment that's incredibly heavy, emotionally deep, full of potential turning points.
For sure. The events described sound like heart-pounding chases, stealth attempts, maybe sacrifices among the slaves trying to get free.
And crucially, this shared ordeal, the sources suggest, will really forge the bond between Kuma, Ivankov, and Ginny.
Definitely. But the emotional core is just undeniable, as the sources frame it. It's tragic, it's tense.
Highlighting the sheer cruelty of the rulers.
And that powerful, just unyielding desire for freedom in the people they oppress.
And fittingly, it sounds like a cliffhanger ending is very possible for the chapter.
Yeah, the sources mention that strongly. Maybe the escape plan hits a wall, someone gets captured.
Or Kuma himself finds something, or maybe loses something important right as the chapter ends.
Classic Oda.
So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here? This deep dive into your sources, it gives us this raw, emotional, pretty crucial look at Kuma's past.
And a big piece of the One Piece world's hidden history, yeah.
We get insight into just how horrifying that celestial dragon hunt was.
The courage needed to even try to escape against those odds.
And how fundamental that hope, that Nika legend was for young Kuma.
Plus, those intriguing hints about God Valley's real importance. A convergence point even before the legendary battle.
Yeah, it really adds layers, doesn't it? Grim context, deep motivation for Kuma, for the location itself.
Absolutely.
So it leaves you, the listener, with this final thought to chew on, considering the absolute despair described on God Valley. What does the sheer power of a legend like Nika, just whispered among the most oppressed people, what does that tell us about hope? About freedom when you're facing just unimaginable tyranny?
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end and see you in the next video.